And we are live now.
All right.
So let me pin the post first.
Okay.
To announce the community that we are live.
Awesome. This is that first 30 seconds of a live video where you just kind of talk and no one's listening. Phil, yeah, we actually do that for Conference 21, where we have a weekly roundtable where I bring the speakers on and interview them, and they get to share their ideas and their thoughts. And I always talk for the first minute and a half because I know no one's listening for the first minute and a half, and people actually are there to see them, not me. So that's when I'm like, here's the website, here's how you sign up, blah, blah, here's dates, whatever. Okay, now on to the interesting stuff, now that we've got an audience. So
fantastic. So present yourself first to
sure.
the community. Who are you?
All right. Well, yes, thank you very much for having me on here. So my name is Michael Whitehouse. I'm a coach and a motivational speaker, primarily. I run a daily motivational podcast called Morning Motivation, which is kind of a quick pick-me-up in the morning. But the reason I reached out to you is that I'm running a conference called Conference 21. And it's a virtual conference, but it's apparently not like any other conference, which I discovered after I organized it. I organized it the only way I could think of to organize a virtual conference, because to me, when you go to a conference, yeah, the speakers are there. That's why you go and why you buy your ticket. But the value is the people you meet in the hall and the people you meet in the lobby. And at the end of the talk, you turn to the person next to you and say, hey, what'd you think about that? And then you get talking, you exchange business cards. It's those connections. And so I'd go to these online events, and they'd just be cable TV, YouTube videos, basically. Some of these things online, you go and someone talks to you, and then someone else talks to you. And then maybe there's a chat box. If you're lucky, you can chat with other people. If you're not, only the speaker sees your chat. And you might as well be watching a recording. So I really wanted something where it had the same feel of walking around a conference, of connecting with people, of bumping into somebody at the bar afterwards. Because all the business of the conference in real life happens at the bar. So while it is BYOB because you're in your own home, I wanted to try to recreate that sense of serendipitous networking. And so around that, so the conference itself is May 21st, 23rd, and 21st to 23rd. So coming up in a few weeks. And the website is conference21.com. But around that, I built a series of other events. There's 2 networking events every month. We do a weekly roundtable on the Conference 21 Facebook page, which is facebook.com/conference21, where I bring 1 to 3 of the speakers up to share their things. And we have a really diverse group of speakers in terms of both, of course, a demographically diverse group, but also in terms of what they talk about. It's everything from mindset to marketing to health and wellness to we're partnering with a real estate investing group. So there's a whole bunch of people going to be talking about basically they're borrowing our platform because they've got a networking group, but they've never organized a virtual conference and don't want to put in the effort to do it. And I've already got a conference. They've got the speakers. We said, let's put them together, bring your people in. So there's going to be, I'm trying to do more of those kind of collaborations, cross-pollinations like that. But so the roundtables are great. You get all these different people talking and connecting. And that's really been the exciting part of it is, we haven't drawn thousands of people, although someday we will. We'll bring, spin the turnstile. But we get a few hundred people, and the connections, even among the speakers, are phenomenal. They meet each other during the planning Zoom calls and the networking sessions, and now they're collaborating and they're getting to know each other. They're hiring each other because they're in. It's not like 20 marketing people. They're all different. So the marketing guy meets the wellness guy and says, oh, I've got some issues maybe you can help me with. And the wellness guy talks to the marketing guy and says, I've got some issues you can help me with. So is that, and then the cool thing for the attendees is oftentimes these events, you've got sort of this nobility of the speakers. They're up here and they're a different class of people. You can't even touch them. Maybe you can set up a free call, and if you're lucky, you talk to them or you talk to their assistant. I wanted to break down that wall. So with our event, you get to meet the speakers. So you see someone up on stage, virtual stage, up on stage, and you like what they're talking about, or you can meet them beforehand, and you want to talk more, there's going to be a networking module. And we use a platform that lets you kind of move around freely. It's really easy to use, really intuitive, but you see their little headshot on the table, you click on it, and boom, you're at their table, and you can make those casual conversations, just like you're at a real conference. Somebody really fires you up, you go up to the stage and you talk to them afterwards, or you catch them, at the restaurant that evening. And we wanted to create those kinds of opportunities. So it's not just they speak, they collect your email address, you get on their newsletter list and whatever. You can actually make those live human connections right there at the conference, and that's what's so exciting about it.
I never heard about this before.
Yeah,
it's just fantastic. Yeah, it's just fantastic. No,
yeah.
What's your background? Present yourself more than your business.
Sure. So in terms of the event space, I've actually been running events of different kinds since 1996, mostly science fiction conventions. That's how I got into event running. So science fiction conventions and anime conventions and those kinds of things. So there's a lot of opportunities to get pretty high up in a sci-fi convention because they're all volunteer run. So if you're willing to put in the time, they'll teach you whatever you need to know to do any level of it. So I've been doing that for 20-something years. So when COVID happened, and I said, and I made my pivot and wanted to get more into business, I said, I wish there was this kinds of conferences that I could attend without spending a gazillion dollars. Because you go to a business conference, you got to fly there, you got to get the hotel, you got to take a week off work, it's a whole thing. So what if we take advantage of this whole virtual thing to do that? And the only thing I know is these sci-fi conventions that are much more about peer-to-peer interaction. I mean, the Comic-Cons, you've got the famous celebrities from TV, they're up on the stage, you don't get to see them. But most science fiction conventions are authors and much more approachable people, and the kind of folks that you can chat with them after the talk and hang out with them and go play a board game after their talk. So that's kind of the impression I have of what a conference is. So that's what I built it on. So my post-COVID identity is that I'm a motivational speaker, a coach. I help people to figure out clarify their vision, learn about networking. I'm doing a lot of work with gratitude lately because I've realized how powerful it is in my life. When I stopped looking for what can I have in the future, then I'll be happy, and realized, wait, I got some really cool stuff right now. And I sort of stumbled into some techniques to allow me to stop coveting other things and appreciate what I have now. A lot of people don't realize when, most people know the 10 Commandments and know one is thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife and whatever. But most people don't know what the word covet means. And what it really means is it's not just you want it, but it's like you need it and you are unsatisfied until you have it. So coveting isn't looking at your neighbor's wife and be like, hey, he's got a pretty good looking wife. All right. Coveting is saying, I will not be satisfied until she is my wife. And that's a terrible way to live your life, because now you're just permanently unhappy, or you're creating conflict, and you'll still probably be unhappy even when you get what you think you want. So I've been doing a lot of gratitude appreciate. Like we bought a house a few months ago, and I'll drive around and look at other houses, and I kind of condition myself to compare the worst parts of theirs to the best parts of mine. And this is very powerful. So, my house is not a mansion, but it's pretty nice. It's pretty big. And so if I drive by a house that's really, but also the architecture is pretty plain of our house. So I'll drive by a house that's really nice looking. And I'll say, well, yeah, that's really nice looking, but it doesn't have the kind of space we do. So it's not as functional. I'll drive by a house that's really big, and I'll say, well, yeah, it's really big, but it's really expensive to upkeep. And they're dropping another $1,000 a month, and I'm not, because my house is more efficient, and we don't really need that space. And whatever it is, I find what's good about what I have and what's not good about what I don't have. And every time I make that comparison, my mind goes, oh, that's pretty cool. The awakening moment I have is I do visualization exercise with people. And I'd say, visualize your perfect future, in detail. Because a lot of people can't fix their mind on where they'll be. They're stuck right now. And so that holds them back from doing the work. So I'd go through these visualization exercises, and I'd say, tell me, where do you live? What's it like? And they describe, maybe they live in a house by a lake. And I'd say, what's so great about it? Tell me about the details. And they'd say, well, every morning I can make my coffee and go out on the deck and look out over the water. This is their vision of their perfect life. They don't have it. This is 10 years in the future. Every morning in real life, now in 2001, I make my coffee, I go out on my deck, and I look out. We don't have water, we have a backyard, but it's a nice view. And I'm looking out of the back, and I realized I would hear my literal today's morning experience twice in 1 week in people's ideal future vision. And it just hit me, I'm like, wait a minute. There's parts of my life that people are killing themselves to get to, and I've already got it. And so then I started kind of leaning into that kind of gratitude work. Like, wait, if I got that, what else do I have? What else do I have? appreciating my wife more and really focusing on, because it's easy to focus on the like, she didn't clean the dishwasher. She said she was going to do this and she didn't do it. But if instead you focus on the positive things and realize, like my wife has a growing YouTube channel. She does model building, like plastic models. And so I've been trying to build, my Facebook presence and social media, whatnot, for years in different ways. She started like 3 weeks ago. She has 110 followers, like that. But she's much better looking than I am. But I realized that probably out of these 110, most of them are men, and it probably 80% would gladly trade places with me, given the opportunity. And because like, my wife has fans, so kind of have that perspective of, I'm married to a woman that people follow on the internet because they think she's awesome. I should probably get on board with that because I've actually got her. So, so people say that like, your husband's a lucky man. I'm like, damn right I am. So it's a really, really powerful thing. And it's funny. I think about my background, my pre-COVID life, and it's almost like, was that me? Was that someone else? Because everything is different. I've moved. I mean, my wife's the same. My daughter's the same. But the way I see them is different. I've moved. I've completely changed jobs. I totally changed lifestyle. So much is, and even the things that I was doing, like I've been a Rotarian in Rotary for a number of years, but Rotary's now online. So the way that interacts is different. So it's, people talk about like going back to normal, of like, there's no going back. I'm just, this is normal. We're here. This is it. And I wouldn't go back. If you were like, hey, you want to wake up in 2020 and just skip COVID entirely? I'd be like, hell no. No, I want this, what we have now. Because this is pretty great.
But
yeah.
Do you think people can have goals and vision about the future, and they also can live in the present?
Absolutely. And I often do vision and gratitude exercises together, because when you do a vision exercise, it can cause you to look back at your present and be like, ugh. The future is beautiful and amazing, and I live in a villa on the lake, and I've got servants, and I'm driving a Tesla, and everything's amazing. And then I look at my dingy old apartment with my annoying roommate and my whiny kids, and life is terrible. So that's why I like to pair that with a gratitude exercise to realize like what you have now is pretty good, because the universe is kind of like if someone gives you a gift, right? If I give you a gift and you're like, I'm not going to give you another gift because you didn't appreciate the first one. And I feel like the universe kind of the same way. When it gives you gifts and you say, well, it's not going to give you more. And that's kind of the metaphysical explanation of it, the spiritual explanation. But the more psychological explanation is, if you think everything you have is meh, then part of what you have is the immediate opportunities in front of you. Because you got to get to the next step to get to the next one, the next one, the next one, to get to the big villa and the servants and the whatever, living on a space station or whatever your grand dream is. And so if you don't appreciate the next opportunity in front of you, you're not going to take it. And you're never going to get there because you don't have gratitude for that next chance, that job which only pays 50 cents an hour more, but gives you the opportunity to learn the skill, or that course you could take and learn something, or the person who calls you up and says, hey, I'd love to do a one-to-one. And you're like, I don't have time for a one-to-one. So
from my point of view, sorry to interrupt you. From my point of view, people need to see that money and big houses cannot buy happiness. Mm-hmm. And after that, they realize what you just said. But from my point of view, everyone has their own journey, and they want to realize by themselves, because we cannot convince them. We can help them as a coach, as with these kind of videos, with open discussion. But from my point of view, they need to see on their life. They can have 100 hotels, and happiness is something different. You need to be present, to love your life, to love other people. This is another something extra than love your life. Because if you just love your life and you don't love other people, it's finished. Game over. Yeah.
Yep. Well, and you probably don't really love your life if you don't love other people. I think a lot of the hostility comes from being, defensive or bitter or something. But it's really hard to say, oh yeah, I'm truly happy, but I hate everyone around me. Because if you're really happy, you want others to be happy.
Of course,
that's
100%.
Natural state.
And you help also others succeed and find their way. And
that's really one of the greatest joys. So, and to me, it's one of the greatest accomplishments. It's like, sure, you made money, great, whatever. But when you can help someone else, that's when you're like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah. Do you think it's also for the ego to help others?
Yeah, it's great for the ego to help others. And when you do for yourself, there's never enough. You can never make enough money. I made $1 million, now I need to make $5 million. I made 5, now I need 10. I've got a big house, I need 2 big houses. I've got a boat, I need a bigger boat. But every time you help someone, even if you help a kid to pass their math test, you help an entrepreneur to find one customer, you help someone to find the plumber that can fix their clogged drain, you're like, yeah, I feel good about that. And it's always enough because you feel satisfied. Not like, I only helped them fix a clogged drain. I mean, if it had a leak, maybe, but it's just a clogged drain. You still feel good. And so, because you tend to diminish what you have yourself, but you don't, you tend to have more appreciation of what you do for others. It's almost like we're hardwired to appreciate that. Like it's built into our DNA to do that as an evolutionary trait, because probably is.
I am very happy that people like you organize conferences because they can share real value information, and also you will choose speakers and people who attend that have almost the same value as you, right?
Yes. And one example, actually, a benefit I certainly did not expect to get, but has been amazing. I would say I am almost not the same person I was back in November when I first started organizing Conference 21. Because in the course of organizing the conference, of course, I had the formal events, the roundtables where I interview people. I'll also do one-to-ones with the speakers, just kind of get to know them. We do Zoom calls with the speakers to bring them up to date on helping promote the conference and that kind of stuff. But through all of this, I get to spend a lot of time with these great people. And so you probably heard the idea of you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Well, the people I'm spending my time with are mindset coaches, business coaches, successful business people, wellness professionals. And they're the kind of people who are positive enough to say, I want to sign up to give a talk because I have something to share and I think that's going to be valuable to other people and thus valuable to me. So they kind of self-select the right kind of people. Because the kind of very mercenary people wouldn't sign up for the conference. They'd be like, well, how much money am I going to make? I don't know. Maybe some, maybe not. And plenty of our speakers have made, found clients, and it was totally worth it business-wise. But they didn't go in saying, how many clients am I getting? They went in saying, what can I give? And how can I help people? And they knew that success would follow. So we had 28 speakers for February. We have 48 signed up for May. But I had those 28 people were the ones I was spending much of my time with for those few months. And I could feel my mindset shifting, developing that gratitude. I've heard attitude of gratitude for 20 years, but I fully wrapped my head around it over the last few months as I worked with all these people. And suddenly all these concepts that I've been kind of touching the surface of for years, I'm now embracing, like, oh, now I get it. Oh, and I could not have afforded to get the amount of coaching I've gotten. And coaches are just naturally helpful people. You come near them with a problem, they're like, oh, well, you got 15 minutes? Let me help you with that. We don't know how to charge for that. You're like, you have a problem, you're near me, I'm going to help you. And then maybe you'll give me money sometime later. I don't know, figure it out. But I want to help. And so I surrounded myself with 30 such people. So naturally, good things happen. As I build the conference in the future, I want to help the attendees and even the other speakers have the same experience I did of being surrounded in that kind of positive, helpful community of people who just want to share what they know. And it's so diverse that you can learn all kinds of different things. What's really fun is the roundtable. So it's basically random. I have them sign up for dates, and then whoever signs up first, I slot into that date. And it works really well because we get a random assortment. It's not like I have 3 marketing guys talking marketing, because you put 3 marketing guys in a panel, what are they going to talk about? The newest things in social media, Facebook advertising, ClickFunnels, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But you put a marketing guy, a chiropractor, and a mindset coach in a room, they're going to pick some topic and go all the way to the bottom in it. And because one of them's going to be like, oh, I never thought about that. Or, oh, that's actually kind of like with my business, but you do something totally different, but it's interesting that overlap. And you get these really interesting, incredible interactions. Sometimes, not all the time, because it's random mix. Some are great, some are informative and technical. But we've had some amazing conversations where bringing those people together, which have been fantastic.
So you bring somehow the roundtable concept on the online.
Yeah, for the yes. So the virtual roundtables we actually do every Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern, and every Tuesday at 7. We just started the Tuesdays. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So Friday at 2, and
for the original roundtable, or for
for the roundtable that's available on Facebook and YouTube for anyone can watch that. The format of the conference is each speaker gets an hour and gets to give their talk. And there's multiple speaker slots, because obviously it's not 48 hours long. So there's multiple slots, and you get to choose which speaker you see, which is nice. You don't feel like you're stuck there, because sometimes you're listening to a talk, you're like, this talk's pretty good, but I don't need the rest of it. I got the nugget. And you can pop over to the next room. And sometimes you go into a talk and you're like, this talk isn't what I thought it was going to be. So you can pop. That sense of control is really, really powerful, being able to move freely. And invariably, when there's 7 speakers speaking at once, it's going to happen that you want to see 2 at the same time, which is why they're all recorded, and all ticket holders get access to all the recordings.
I have the first hard question for you.
Hard question? Okay, let me drink some water. Go ahead.
Do you think owning is overrated?
Do I think owning
material stuff, houses, yacht, boat, cars?
Above a certain threshold, yes. So, there's a study they did about, money can't buy happiness, and they find that is true over $70,000 a year. Below that, money can totally buy happiness, because it can buy you, a reliable car and daycare and medical care and a therapist and, the stuff you need to survive. But once you have enough, but yes, so in terms of having what you need, that's pretty big. That can move you from you're upset because you don't know how you're going to eat tomorrow to you're not. But beyond that, yeah, owning is definitely overrated. So when you get to when you're talking about, as I was saying before, the bigger boat, the bigger house, the comparison, well, my house is this, but my neighbor's house is that, and I wish I had that. That's, when you're working for money and working to own things, you never have enough. Because
100%, 100%. I want to share you something with you. Our community,
yes,
20,000 active members every single day, because we are here to help them totally free. This, of course, we have also a business and we generate money, but our mindset is to help others. This is something that makes us happy. This is something that makes them happy, and because we do that, we also generate money. But this is after our we enjoy what we are doing.
Absolutely.
I try to share all day, every single day with the community this. So success and happiness, they are completely separate. Yeah, you can be very successful and depressed. You can that's real.
Yep. Totally true.
I know a lot of people. Yeah, because I manage this community and I'm an entrepreneur. I've met a lot of people in my life, and I realized that most of people with planes and big boats, they are not happy at all. Most of them.
Yeah, and I've actually realized, because for the longest time I've been chasing money and not catching it. Apparently I'm slow when it comes to money's fast. I'm slow, I guess. I need to work on that. But I realized, like, why is not having money made me unhappy? Well, because I've been unhappy about not having money. And so what if I could stop being unhappy about not having, because I've always had a place to live. I've always been able to put food on the table. We live in a nice and decent town, good school system, Our daughter's healthy. I've got all the stuff that matters. So why am I unhappy about not having? And it's never. And sometimes the worry, be like, well, I'm okay now, but I don't know if I can pay the bills next month. And somehow I always do. And so I've finally kind of hit that point of, what if I just don't worry about it, and instead I'm just happy with all the stuff I have? And if next month it all falls apart and we end up on the street living in a van, well, why did I spend this month living in the van in my head? Then I lost this month too. And next month probably won't end up living. Well, we don't have a van, so I don't know how to do that. But it's like bad things could happen tomorrow, but why should I live in that bad thing today when it hasn't happened yet? And once I finally get my head around that, I realize, I'd like to make more money, given the choice. If someone's like, would you like more money or less money? I'll take more money. But if I don't, I don't. So I keep doing. I keep helping people. I keep coaching and motivating and putting on events and bringing people together. And it's funny. I wrote a book on networking called The Guy Who Knows the Guy, which I actually just put out the, there it is. There it is.
Where we can buy it?
Go to book.guywhoknowsaguy.com. You can also find it on Amazon, but I haven't sold enough copies that it ranks high. So if you go to book.guywhoknowsaguy.com, that gives you the direct link to it.
Yeah, after the video, please send me the link, because I want to share with the community.
Okay. Link. Yep. I will definitely do that. But so I'm all about bringing people together and the giver's gain, which is the BNI slogan, but I kind of live by it as well. You go into a networking event saying, any network environment, how can I help? Not what can I take, what can I give? What resources do I have to share with people? Who can I introduce? And that part I'm pretty good at. And people have come back to me like, oh, thanks for making that introduction to me. We closed the deal, and they were a realtor, and the deal they closed a $500,000 sale, and they got 3%. I'm like, cool, you just made $15,000 because of my introduction. And from that I get a very nice thank you. And so I did the math once and estimated, I think at one point estimated that meeting with me, just doing a one-to-one, or me even just trying to pitch you when I was selling my magazine ads, was worth $400 on average. Now, some people got 15,000, some people got zero. But based on I think I estimate I made like $300,000 or $400,000 of connections among people, of which I made myself very little. And I certainly could become bitter about that and be like, I'm connecting, I'm putting your kids through school, and I'm getting maybe a nice thank you if you remember to thank me at all. Half of them don't. But instead, I said, I like doing it. It makes me feel good to do it. It makes me feel powerful to do it. And it's fun. It doesn't hurt me any, and it builds my network. I am better connected because I've helped all these people. So I haven't gotten a piece of it yet in a big way, but that's okay. It'll come when it's meant to come. And if it doesn't, if at the end of my life I look back and say, I helped a lot of people but never got any money for it, I don't think I'll be bitter about that. I think if conversely I said I made a lot of money and didn't help anyone, I don't think I'd feel good about that outcome. But if it's I helped a lot of people and never figured out how to get paid for that, but somehow everything always worked out, all right, there's worse things to think on your deathbed than I helped a lot of people but didn't make a lot of money. That's not too bad.
How much it's a ticket for your event?
So speaking of me not knowing how to take your money, it's $21. $21. That's it.
So you can buy how many ice cream you can?
Well, it depends. With the really nice ice cream, like one. If you go to McDonald's, you can get probably 6 or 7 ice creams for that much.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. There's an ice cream shop around here that has like one of those giant $21 sundaes. So for the price of a giant sundae, you can come see 48 speakers and connect with all the attendees and get access to all our networking events and see all the videos from both the May event and the February event.
Fantastic.
Yep.
So please share also with me the link for the event so I can share with the community. I think I already have it, but to be sure, just send me again.
Absolutely. I'll send it over. Do that right now.
It was a pleasure to meet you, and a pleasure to have you on our podcast.
Yes, it's great to connect, and And yeah, I use StreamYard for live podcasts, but I've never used the Facebook group call. So this is a new and exciting experience.
As a podcaster, I have just 1 month and a couple of days experience.
Okay.
So I'm a serial entrepreneur, but I never did this kind of stuff in my life. And I know I already generate enough for me, and it's time to give back. Of course, at the same time, I'm a CEO at a company, and I must respect something. So to achieve something for the team, to help them grow, to help them become better version of themselves. Also for our investors, I need to generate what I promise. But in the same time, I have this podcast just to help other people, because this is something that makes me happy, and it's something that I cannot buy. Doesn't matter if I pay $10 million, you cannot buy happiness. Yeah?
Absolutely. Well, and think of the podcast like this, and with a group like you have. I mean, your group is 1,000 times the size of my group. So with an audience like that, you can, just being up there, 1 out of 1,000 people be like, "Who's this guy? Let me click on his profile. Oh, he does that. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's a business. Oh, that's interesting." And just by sheer volume, enough people will trip over your webpage to be like, "Oh, I could actually use this. Oh, let me reach out to you. What do you do? Tell me more about that." So just that curiosity, exposure. As they say, there's no such thing as bad publicity. There's some bad publicity, but certainly not this kind. So, publicly helping people always is good business.
Tell us the best advice in business you know, and you can share it with our community. The best advice you know.
The best advice I know. I would say a few things come to mind. The one that I'm really big on lately is the power of gratitude. Is when you appreciate what you have, it makes it easier to get more, and it makes it easier if you don't get more, because you might discover you're actually doing pretty good. Like, you may have already won and not even noticed it. See, like, someone standing next to you holding the trophy, being like, "Got that? You won," and like, you're still running, and they're like, "Trophy, you won already. Stop running." So gratitude is huge for that. But the other thing that I run into a lot is that we have so much more potential than we think. We're told by society, by our family, by our teachers that you just have to get a job, to trust the company and they'll take care of you, or you need a steady job, you need a reliable job. And a lot of people last April discovered what reliable job meant. So and so they're kind of on this track to a business life that would have been great in 1974, but it's not anymore. In 2021, that idea of get your degree, go get a job, and you'll be fine. Some people get lucky, and a lot don't. So to understand you have potential and be ready to seize it and follow it wherever it leads you, whether that's entrepreneurship, whether that's leaving your job and taking another job, to see yourself as a CEO of yourself. And an entrepreneur will fire a client more easily than an employee will quit their job, even if it's their only client, because no, that's not the right client for me. I'm going to get a better client. Whereas an employee will stick with a terrible job for 20 years and be miserable and underpaid. And to think of yourself like an entrepreneur, even if you're just a worker. Because I back when I was still working for people, I said, I run a business. It's a business of one. I have one client right now. It is this company I work for, but I follow my opportunities. I have as much loyalty to the company as the company has to me, which is, as long as our relationship is mutually beneficial, we'll continue to work together. And as soon as it's not, we won't. That's how it always is. And when you start thinking that way and looking for those opportunities, like, you're not married to your job. Like, you should not think this way about your spouse. Your spouse, you're with them, good, bad, indifferent, no matter what happens, you should be committed to them 100% without looking around. With your job, you should always be looking around. No matter how well your job's going today, if some recruiter wants to buy you coffee, drink some damn coffee. Hear what they have to say. You might say no, in which case you're going to be like, my job is actually pretty good. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Yeah. But you also might say, interesting. I didn't realize that. Oh, that's good to know. But be, don't let your loyalty to someone who doesn't have loyalty to you stop you from pursuing your own potential and owning your own future.
Thank you very much. It's more than I expected. To be honest, it's more than I expected. Fantastic.
Well, there you go. I keep talking until the right answer comes out. So.
The last question.
Yeah.
You are a member of round table, right?
Of Rotary?
Round table.
Not round table. I'm a member of Rotary, a member of Toastmasters, BNI.
And this is something that changed your life?
Each of them have contributed in different ways. Rotary has given me a focus on community service and an outlet for community service I wouldn't have had otherwise. Because I don't have giant piles of money. I can't write a check for $100,000, but I can help run a fundraiser that creates 3 or 4 scholarships for local kids, or that does road cleanups and whatnot. So that's been powerful. BNI has absolutely informed a lot of the networking I do. Some of their they've got some tremendous educational resources that I've been able to leverage very powerfully. And of course, Toastmasters has given me the opportunity to speak and practice speaking and build those skills. I mean, I got pretty comfortable speaking I was actually a director of Rocky Horror Picture Show cast for a number of years, which put me on stage once a week for 3 years. And you do that, doesn't matter how nervous you are when you start, you'll figure it out and you'll get comfortable. But Toastmasters has helped me refine my skills and refine my message and speech composition, which has been powerful as well.
Thank you very much. I see you very honest about it. Most of the people think that something like Rotary, Round Table are just for a group of people who control the world and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, we don't control the world at all. No. But in some ways, Rotary started. The original concept of Rotary was a bunch of businessmen getting together for lunch and sharing leads. Basically, is 1905. And they just got together for lunch every week and be like, hey, what's going on? How you doing? Oh, do you know someone who, it was an informal kind of group. And over time, they eventually realized that around that table, they had a lot of power because they had a lot of money. And there were little things that could be done that for what them would be a minor inconvenient amount of money. If you were to take, say, 10 successful businessmen today and put them around a table and someone tells them, if we had $100,000, we could open that youth center, but we don't know where to get it. They could each write a check for $10,000 and be like, done, here you go. And so that's what it was in 1905. And they were in Chicago and they started to see problems in the city. And they said, together we could just solve that. We don't necessarily need a fundraiser. We can just pass a hat around the table and just fix it. Oh yeah, we could do that. And so that idea of, we should give back, we have at our scale, we can do these problems that are insurmountable for others, we can just fix. Or, they could raise money by calling, each one calls 10 friends and said, hey, will you pitch in $100 for this? And suddenly they've got $10,000 and now they're building a this or they're funding of that or fixing of this. So that's where it came from, and then it evolved to be more and more of a service organization. But always from that idea of we are blessed with so much. How can we give back? How can we help? And then finding bigger and bigger things to do, like eradicating polio, which is the biggest thing Rotary's ever done.
So, do you think to become a person who understands that it's a must to give back after you have everything for yourself? Do you think everyone could understand, or there are also people who can die without understanding this?
Well, I think I changed one thing there. You have to give back before you have everything for yourself. I mean, survival, obviously. But once you're past survival, I think some people are like, well, I'll give when I'm this rich. Well, guess what? Once you're this rich, you're still not giving because now you need to be that rich. As opposed to, I have what I need. There's others who don't. It's time to start giving. And the amazing thing is, once you start giving, the universe starts giving back.
Yeah.
Whether it's good generates luck, or a lot of the nonprofit boards. As I interviewed on my podcast a president of a local bank, and he was telling me, oh yeah, I'm on the board of this and the board of that and the board of this. I'll introduce you to these people so you can interview them on the podcast. And I realized these boards of all the United Way and these different nonprofit organizations, all these all the people on these boards are movers and shakers, are presidents and CEOs and owners and investors. And if you can get yourself onto those boards, which you can do either by having a lot of money or by doing a lot of really good work, you're now rubbing shoulders with really powerful people. And because really powerful people like to do a lot of good because they have the resources to do it.
100%.
And so it's a business benefit too.
100%. So it's not like a lot of powerful people want to control other people, because a lot of fake news are out there about it.
Yeah.
Who want to do that instead of helping others and create a good, very good society, more than what it is? So it's good to live in the present, but if something could be better, why not? Let's do it, right?
Well, and that's like once you're a billionaire, you've already won that game. Why are you trying to control? Like, you don't need to control. You already control the world. You're a billionaire. You don't need to be part of some conspiracy to control the world. You already won the game. What other game is there? Oh, philanthropy. That's a better game. Let's win that game now. That's the next challenge. And I think that's what people don't realize is that there's a certain point where it doesn't. And so corporations will be driven by their investors and by these economic forces. So they're always trying to maximize profits. But individual humans don't tend to do that. You get to a point where you're like, all right, I have an incalculable amount of money. I don't need more money. Like, yeah, if you were to ask Bill Gates how much money he has, he'd be like, I don't know, a lot. I guarantee you most billionaires have no idea how much money they actually have.
Of course, 100%. I'm sure of that.
Yeah, so making more, they're like, hey, he made $1 million. They're like, all right, put it in the pile. But, for them to be able to do, if you look at like Elon Musk, who is a quirky character, but sometimes you got to be quirky to do really big things. He's really driven by the thing, like he wants to see humans on Mars, and he's just crazy enough to actually take steps to make it happen. But he's, which when people are crazy, they're crazy all the way. But he's not driven by having more money. I had the feeling that if you were to tell him, listen, we can put humans on Mars, it will bankrupt you, and you'll be working McDonald's. He'd be like, is the McDonald's on Mars? I feel like that would be his question.
I think Elon is ready to be poor.
Yeah, he's past that. He's like, all right, I've had money. I've got money. Great. What can I do with it? I mean, he basically bet all of his money on SpaceX and to some degree, and Tesla. But he bet all of his money on SpaceX and Tesla, and though Tesla, he gave away all his patents. So if he was working for money, that wouldn't really be the way to do it. But the company's more successful because he's got a passion. He's not just, look how much money we can make. It's, look how we can change the world. For good. For good. Yeah. Yeah, very few people I think are like, let's change the world and destroy everything. That's more of a comic book character.
Also, there are some people like this, yeah?
The people who just want to destroy the world?
Yeah. But they don't have enough money and power to do it. That's why they are there. Yeah,
well, that's true. It's when you have that kind of attitude, it's really hard to get people to follow you. Who wants to follow that? Who wants to follow a vision of evil? It's just not appealing. It's the positive visions that people are going to follow and say like, oh yeah, get humans to Mars, cure polio, eradicate disease, feed the hungry. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Free and open internet. Yeah, that sounds great. I like that.
Create something, yeah?
Huh?
Create something.
Yes, create, yeah. And sometimes you'll have people who they'll cast evil as good, which is usually a matter of division. Like, we're going to create a better world for our people, or we're going to protect us from them, whoever them is. But even those visions they don't feel right. Because you're like, are you sure there's a them? I don't know. Whereas he like, let's make things good. The people who, I think I find the people who get taken in by those sorts of negative messages, it's because they're from a position of scarcity. They're worried they don't have much, and what little they have is going to be taken away. And the people who love the positive messages say, I've got quite a bit. I'd like to get more, but I want others to have more too. And then there's a realist who realizes if you have a lot and someone else doesn't have much, eventually neither of you is going to have much because they're going to take your stuff, which is just a very realist view. If you look at, I'm a fan of history, and there's a great podcast series called Revolutions by Mike Duncan, and he studies different revolutions through history, and a lot of them come down to some version of the people who didn't have got fed up with not having, and they got pushed to the point where it was take the rich people's stuff or die, and they're like, well, I guess we'll take their stuff then. The French Revolution was driven by hunger and desperation. And it was a terrible, terrible series of events, but it was all because the rich couldn't give up what they had and didn't understand the position of the poor and let it get out of control. So much better to remove that desperation and remove that even if you're just purely self-interested capitalist, a little bit of equality is a good insurance program, because there's a lot more poor people than rich people.
Yeah, I think your events will help a lot of people. This is something that you will make you happy, your team probably happy, and also you will generate money with this. So there's nothing wrong with that, yeah? So guys, I will be also a speaker.
Yep, yeah, for August, yep.
Yeah, thank you very much for that opportunity.
Yep. Yeah. Unfortunately, it was past the April deadline or past the May deadline when we got in touch. But you will be at the next one in August.
It's just perfect. I will be there 100% to help others with everything I know.
Awesome. I look forward to that.
Thank you
very much for having me on here. This has been great.
Thank you very much for your time, and I wish you a fantastic day.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye now. Bye.